Hi there, I'm Sinead McLaughlin and welcome to our technical analysis of the markets. I'm joined once again by Jean-Francois Owczarczak of MJT and fingraphs.com. Welcome, Jean-Francois.
Hi, Sinead.
So firstly, let's start off with currencies. What can you show me?
Well, we're here on a daily mosaic on our fingraphs.com website. It features Euro-Dollar, Cable, Euro-Swiss, Gold, Dollar Swiss, Dollar Yen, Brent, and the S&P futures. And basically, the dollar is in a resume uptrend, euro is in a resume downtrend. Gold hasn't resumed quite yet, but we think it should follow suit. And the markets, or equity markets, are resuming their uptrend. So we'll look at this in more detail. So we're here on an investor's view of the euro dollar. An investor's view is a combination of a weekly, a daily, and an hourly chart for the perspective over the next few quarters on the weekly, the next few months on the daily, and over the next few weeks on the hourly. And at the moment, all three trends are heading down. So we have three bears here and a message that tells us potential continuous downtrend. So if we focus on each one of them, let's first look at the weekly chart, so the perspective over the next few quarters. It's still a bear trend. Its targets are still heading lower. We have possible targets between 112, which is the upper boundary, which we have reached a few months back, and which could lead us down to 101. So there's a bit more to go, we believe. There's a bit of stress here. You can see both envelopes touching each other. So usually when you have these points of stress, you get a reaction, which we believe we probably already got. And when you usually have a first point of stress and a downtrend, it's usually an intermediate bottom. So prices rebound and then move lower to reach their targets. On the risk index side, we're oversold, but we're just at the beginning of an oversold situation. These could last a bit. It's a momentum oscillator. So it's really when you actually make it out of the oversold zone back into an uptrend mode that you could really call a reversal here. So for the time being, bear trend and still a bit to go to the downside over the next few quarters. Now on the daily, also a bad trend. We did reach the targets. They were impulsive 2 targets, so quite aggressive targets. So we've gone a long way, but at the moment we're still in a bearish trend. And here also the risk index has just made it back to the oversold zone and hasn't turned up yet. So we believe this was probably an intermediate bottom. We did have the reaction and we're moving lower to reach another bottom over the next few months. Now on the hourly, we did have a reaction up, which you can see in price here. We did have an exaggeration. Now we're moving lower again. We're not yet oversold. We do see a bit of stress here, but we usually try to coordinate these two signals. So at the moment, we're still in an impulsive move down, and it could lead us over the next few weeks between 104 and 1015. Now, quick look at cable, which is in a similar situation, at dollar Swiss, which is in a similar situation in reverse, and at dollar yen, which is also in a similar situation in reverse. Now, if we have a quick look at gold, gold is still in a bearish mode on the weekly chart, still in a bearish mode on the daily chart, and still in a bullish mode on the hourly chart. And the message says potential intermediate bottom in a downtrend. So you have the downtrend on both longer and medium-term frequencies, and you have an uptrend on the hourlies. On the weekly, we still have a few more quarters to go. We're not yet oversold, and we have targets between 1200 and 1000. If we take an average here, we're probably looking at targets in the 1100 region over the next few quarters. Now on the daily basis, also still in a downtrend despite the reaction. We would label this as an intermediate bottom. We did see stress on our envelopes and our risk index in the green, but the envelopes are still heading lower. Targets over the next few months between 1141 and 1080. Then on an hourly basis, we're correcting up. We did pretty much reach the targets in terms of price, or at least the low end of these targets. We cannot confirm that we cannot have one last move to reach this target zone, but as we see, the risk index has already reverted down and seems to be positioning itself in a downtrend. So in theory, still in an uptrend, targets could still extend a bit more, but it seems that it has been weaker over the last few weeks. So in the context of a negative medium term and a negative long term, we'd probably call a resumed downtrend here.
And with equities, what can you show me?
So we look at the S&P future, also on an investor's view. All three charts are back in a bull, so potential continuous uptrend. The weekly chart is looking to impulsive 2 targets, so quite extended targets, and you can see that we've had close exaggerations with market stress here with the two envelopes touching each other, and a risk index which made it very close to the overbought zone. It does seem like this consolidation has come to an end and that we're resuming the uptrend. Now we'll have a better view of that on the daily chart, but at the moment this I2 extended targets is pointing between 2200 and 2400 over the next few quarters. Now if we look at the daily, we did see this long period of consolidation between early December and pretty much a few weeks back. We do believe that we're coming out of it to the upside. We did have a breakthrough up in the month of February, a pullback, and now we believe the trend should be reinstated. Targets over the next few months is between 2100, where we are at the moment, up to possibly 2178. The risk index is showing some positive divergence, is moving up, so we believe it is reinstating an uptrend. The hourly has made it above its corrective targets, is back into an impulsive mode up, and over the next few weeks it could make it up between 2130 and possibly, you can't see it very well here, but 2160.
Fantastic. As always, Jean-Francois, a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's all from Jean-Francois and myself for now. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to keep clicking back to Dukascopy TV.